layers in
Photoshop. Yeah.
Like, why not just use layers? Like, well, I don't know. You got to have that that feel sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just this is my preference.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, I think my tablet's broken anyway.
Oh,
so
back to the basics.
Back to the basics. Back to the basics. See,
that's why we do what we do. And welcome back to another episode of AotB Sessions. Today, we are joined by one half of Grow Canvas Grow, my buddy Blacquiao. How's it going, man?
How's it going, man?
Dude,
that's a good intro, man.
It comes with a lot of the wrestling podcast kind of back and forth with Larry.
Yeah.
That hopefully now it sounds a little bit more natural.
Oh yeah, no, it sounded perfect.
Yeah.
Everything about this place is perfect. Man, this came a long way, you know.
Yeah.
Like, this is really some pro level status stuff, you know.
I mean, we try what we can with the QA knowledge that we have. But cheers, my friend.
Cheers to that.
Well, welcome. Yeah, you are one of the first few guests that we've had here on the video version of the podcast. So thank you so much for taking the time to chill. I figure you and I can just
It's an honor.
I figure, you and I can have pretty much just an open discussion on how we pretty much got here, which is kind of crazy because I think we're approaching, when was it, 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
So I think we're approaching either year 7 or year 8, which is kind of crazy.
Ooh, man. Yeah, that's like yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we obviously, worked together way back in the, Sony days.
Yeah.
Always on like different projects though, right?
Yeah, we started off in different projects. I believe I finally started working with you in Ren, a freaking Ren of all people.
Yeah. Good, man. That's like a whole other podcast.
Yeah. Because I think, I met you and Ren on the same project when I moved over to Mag.
Yeah, Mag. But I always seen you like floating around.
Yeah.
We always like talk to each other, and then don't recommend this, but drawing after while we're not pressing the record buttons on our on our VCRs to record the buzz.
VCRs, I forgot.
Writing down the timestamps. While we're not doing that, we are drawing. Let's just say we were drawing some really unique things and individuals.
Characters is
characters.
That's what I usually call them, because they were, especially once you started drawing them, they became legit characters at that point, because we were just referencing all the crazy, not normal things that we were supposed to say at Sony.
Yeah, that's a 5. It was several 5s were happening.
Yeah.
That's insider info.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so funny going back to that, because I found that comic. I think I sent you the photo.
I'll make sure to splice in the photos from that thing and
blur out some.
Oh yeah, not all of them, obviously.
Yeah, just a lot of inside jokes and it's just things to pass the time. Dealing with just the constant play tests and bug writing. Made QA pretty enjoyable. Having to having to go through and find some cool bugs, but then also getting your artistic outlet going. I mean, probably shouldn't be doing that while working, but I mean, we're way past that scene. So
I was gonna say that with all the different things that we were doing at Sony, and then when we started going to Zynga, then the Zynga days.
I forgot all about Zynga.
At that point, you and I were still, I mean, we still kept in touch, but because we were on, I think we were on separate projects the whole time at Zynga.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get to work with each other as much compared to the Sony days. Mm. But then once we both kind of left Zynga after a certain point, and then you and I kind of reconvened again around 2014 before everything, and that's where we started coming up with the idea of like, I know a lot of people who've recently been doing these art shows or expos and stuff like that, and I figured, from all the stuff that we did together at Sony, that it would be really cool to do something like that. Of why not give it a hand and see how we would do at these shows, where if we sold our own stuff, or in your case, if you did commissions. Right. So I think that's when we started coming up with the idea of, before we named it Grow Canvas Grow, it was just more of an idea at that point, you know?
Yeah. So, to be honest, like, I kind of blocked a lot of Zynga from my memory, because how that all went down, like, was just soul crushing. It crushes your spirits, how they make people go out like that. I mean, I left a little bit before, but I don't know. Should we edit this out?
I don't even know anyone there anymore that will come down and like.
We know the deal. When you sign up for QA.
Yeah.
QA contracts,
Actually, before we get into the origins of Grow Canvas Grow, you brought up something earlier where QA in a way helped you get through a lot of your art process, and I really have to agree with you on that. And I've also met other QA people who also do art, and I feel like it's a skill set that, as people think it's very entry level or whatever, but when you actually use the same kind of skill sets that you use in QA to do any kind of artwork, it does really help you because of that rinse and repeat formula. And also, like how you mentioned, patience. And it really gives you an eye to make sure that you're aware of everything that you're doing for any art piece.
Right. Yeah. And if you see mistakes that you want to keep, which will enhance your own style, I think. And then like there'll be things like I'll be drawing something, and then I'll just take a look at it and like, why do I have their hands and behind their back? Because like I just didn't feel like drawing hands, or do I need to work on my hands? And then I just work on hands sometimes, right? Why do I do 3/4 views?
Right.
Or why do I do a profile, like side profile pictures? Maybe I need to start drawing head-on faces more expressions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then also with the patience aspect is, with the process I use for, from sketch to painting, like let's say the sketch will take me like about 2-3 days to do, right?
Right.
Now I have to like trace that. Do the exact same thing on that. And then
you finish like one half, and now you have to do the other half of it.
I mean, like the sketch is complete. The sketch is complete, but then now you have to take that complete sketch, and put it onto something else the exact same way. Right. And then you have to paint it. And so it's just, doing QA, where you have to go through a feature and then you do one round, you find all these issues, test those out. You do build, test those out, then go through the second round. Then you got to do your pre-release smokes, and then you got to do your post-release smokes, and all that stuff. You're just hammering away at the same thing, like over and over again. But the appeal from it comes that you're seeing things take shape.
Right.
You're seeing things becoming more complete, and you have like that kind of confidence within yourself that this you know the ins and outs of where you're going to be. So, you know, like I can just, from my own head, I can just draw something and I'm fine with doing it in pen.
Yeah.
Without having to worry, because, you know, it's just been hammering in my brain. And then so if I get commissioned to do something, you know, I can set aside that time and not get frustrated with doing the same, doing the same thing. So so QA in that manner, you know, helps. Yeah, and vice versa too. Taking more creative approaches to finding stuff out work. You know, so it goes hand in hand for me a little bit. Right. Yeah, or a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, that for me when I do any of the editing, that it's the same thing where editing is pretty much like a QA test plan where you just have to go and run through the whole thing and just make sure that everything sounds good or looks good, et cetera, et cetera. That in a way, it's the stuff that I enjoy doing anyway, that for me, it doesn't feel tedious. QA feels a little tedious because I want to keep working on my own stuff with video editing and everything like that. But the process of what you just said, of making a mistake or finding out a new way of approaching something feels very rewarding, and it's kind of the same thing like launching a new product, that once you launch it, the next project that you work on or next thing that you sketch or draw out, you will have like all those skill sets that you just learned from the previous thing that you did. So
absolutely. Absolutely. That's what gets me through my days. When I do my paintings, right? And this is like an old technique, because I don't really like, I try to stay to pen, paper, watercolor paper, physical tools as much as I can. Right. And so I use some techniques that I don't know if you know this dude, Jeff Maricola. He's a pretty big influence. Like, his paintings are amazing. He does Magic the Gathering. He did the Magic the Gathering cards, right? And I always used to see those cards in the bookstore and in comic shops, and I'm like, man, that's pretty dope art. It must take forever to do so, right? And then I just happened upon like one of his. I was just like researching like art stuff, and I happened upon one of the videos, and I'm like, oh, that's how he does his sketches. Then he transfers that over to here, and then he paints that, and paints over it. So I'm like, oh, that opens up whole new worlds, instead of like, I do this amazing sketch, right? So you don't mess up, whatever canvas or watercolor paper you're using, like all the erase marks and all that other stuff. But then also having to paint over it where you lose the sketch entirely. Right. So that way you have like, this method is like, you have the sketch and you have the painting. And whenever you do commissions for people, like, I usually give them both, let them have both. And they can, they can use either or however they want to. Right? I mean, at first I transferred it directly from the sketch onto the watercolor paper or onto the canvas. But just starting to use tracing paper now, like, it counts, exactly. I mean, it's almost like, it's exactly like layers in Photoshop. Like, why not just use layers? Like, well, I don't know, you gotta have that feel sometimes. It's just this is my preference. Exactly. Also, I think my tablet's broken anyway. So
back to the basics. Is
that what back to the basics. Back to the basics.
That's why we do what we do.
Enjoying the music throughout the show? Check out the episode description for music credits and links. We also have a playlist with all the music artists featured on the podcast. Now let's jump back into the episode.
Yeah, it was I think that's all those memories that happened in that show were why that one sticks out to me as one of my favorite ones in San Francisco. Obviously, the one that also sticks in my head the most is our first show when we did the San Jose one. I forget what I think it was.
Ape.
Ape, yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really challenging one because if you remember, we didn't really have like much, right?
No, I think we only had maybe three or four pieces or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like 3 or 4 pieces from the art show that I did.
Yeah. That's right.
My first art show. You hooked up the flyers for that arts match over at that fireside barn.
Yeah.
And so we were using those. I'm like, man, we kind of just don't have enough right now.
Yeah.
What can we do? And I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna take like a drawing that I already had, and then like a sketch I had, and just like redo it, and then just put the paint on there and see what happens. What is there to lose? Like we were literally like 1 week away.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah,
and then that's how the Harley Quinn Joker came to be.
Yeah,
and I think I wrapped that up like the day before or like a few days before we were supposed to.
I remember that specifically because you mailed it in, or I say mail it in, but you sent me the scanned version of it really late before we were about to do it, and at that point I was like, dude, this is amazing, and instantly I think I didn't stay up all night, but I stayed up pretty late just to print out a bunch of copies, and then the night before. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who do art shows, especially their first few shows, have very similar stories of they probably spend the night before just doing everything, printing everything, making sure that everything's set up for the booth. And
because there's never enough time.
Yeah, never. Yeah.
Like no one, I don't know anyone that goes, well, probably with the exception of someone like David Mack, who just has his shit in the green.
Right.
It's like, or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But people are just like hustling.
Yeah.
And the stress level's at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And then you're going in there like, damn, like, do I have enough?
Yeah.
Am I going to stand out? But the great thing about Ape was like, it was very small.
Mm-hmm.
It was very small. And we were the only people that did what we were doing. Like everyone was very unique.
Yeah.
In a way. Whereas like, the Comic-Cons, you're going to see a lot of comics. You're going to see a lot of like, the same genre of things.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Ape, you have people selling like bags and stuff and other items, not necessarily having to do with comics.
Right.
So that was inspirational, and it helped. Helped with like, oh yeah, so we can do this. We're gonna do it again next year or something like that. Or we'll find like another con to do like later on in the year.
Yeah.
And we just okay. So the second Ape, was that the one we did with the Console Wars, or?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that sounds right because we did. We might have just done
our second Ape. Which I think was 2016.
Something around there. Yeah. We did it where we had the Console Wars, and I believe that was the one where you met Rachel at that point too.
Oh
right? Yeah.
So that was like lightning in a bottle
type
of like stars aligning type of thing. Because I started like doing, more and more paintings. And I had like, I was just trying to figure out like, what can I paint on, right?
Yeah.
With watercolor and like watercolor pencil and ink and like all of these things that I use, like I can put together and not just have it on regular watercolor or regular paper.
Yeah.
So I remember I had some linen resume paper, like very cheap from Office Depot or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like linen paper. So, I just drew like this lady's face or just like the eyes and like
very conceptual.
with like the circuitry coming out of one eye and
Mhm.
the pink and the blue in the hair, and then like I took some white out and just kind of like
Yeah,
scribbled
yeah.
on there, and it was just like eyes, right?
Yeah.
And so that we had a whole bunch of stuff, and like that was like one of the more out there pieces that
Experimental
I had, more
piece.
experimental
Yeah.
pieces that I had. Yeah, I had more complete stuff. I had completed stuff that was like more open ended, right?
Yeah.
And so this lady comes by, and like as Rachel comes by, right?
Yeah.
And she's just looking, but she's not really. It's kind of, you know how it's kind of hard to tell like with people's like reaction,
Exactly.
or, like,
Yeah.
how they feel about certain things, but maybe that they're just also registering like, okay, this is that, you know, this is I forget the names of my paintings, but
Yeah.
this is the Joker.
I don't even think we actually had an official name for it either. So yeah, it was just
well,
for that one anyway. Yeah.
not for that one, but then she stopped at what we later called Tech Girl.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And she like turned it, and she was like, wait a minute. Looked at it and she's like, pretty good. Like just straight faced, and I'm like, okay, did she really think this is good, or like, you're throwing me off here? And she's like, oh, do you do commissions? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I like to commission you for something. I'm writing a book, all right, the glitch logs, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, what is it about? And she's like, you know, it just goes through like she's telling me about what cyberpunk novel based on you know, this what do they call them? And this was the strange part, is I realized I didn't know much about cyberpunk.
I think I was on the same boat where I knew of the style. I know people are going to crucify me, but I didn't even watch Blade Runner at the time yet. I've since seen it,
yeah,
but not at the time that we were doing that show. So
yeah. So I watched that like a long time ago, and it was in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But then you see things like Akira and like Ghost in the Shell. So like you think you have an idea, but then like I like when I started like conversing with her on like through messaging,
right?
She was telling me like what these characters look like, to get the the first book going, and so yeah, I just like went into a deep dive on like what actually is that?
Yeah.
What actually is cyberpunk? And I had no idea it was like that in depth and like that rich and like that much commentary on on it. So I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy, And so we ended up doing the first book cover, and that was like straight success.
Yeah.
I was like, man, although on the book it just has glitch and it has a nebula.
Oh, okay.
That's the woman with the white hair.
Right.
But, God, I forget. I'm blanking on the name. There was another guy that was in that painting. It was like Tony. I think his name is Tony. Mm-hmm. Please comment if I'm wrong about this, Rachel. But yeah, Tony was like a biker. He had like the helmet, and I guess for some reason that just didn't fit with the book cover. Maybe like the placement, or that could be, I forget what the reason was.
Yeah,
but it's really good to see. Well, it's really interesting to see, how she approaches, placing, utilizing the commission to fit her books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I went on to do book 2. Trying to remember what that one was because my memory may not be the best sometimes.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was just going back.
No, that was one with the first cover. Was actually the second commission, I believe.
Oh, okay.
If I am remembering this correctly, and that was glitch, or I could be wrong. I don't know how. It's all running together.
Yeah.
But like it has glitch, and with and whenever she jacks in to do some hacking and like this little matrix, like she has like this plug that she just jacks in, and she becomes like this kind of cat avatar. So I made like this kind of feral cat coming out of her brain while she has the head jack thing. Like, so I thought that was pretty cool because I did that in 2 pieces.
Oh, nice.
And I just like kind of combine them together, trace that, and then she has all those sketches. But
yeah, those are the cool things when she would do the opening videos of just like opening the piece for the first time.
The box openings,
yeah, those are pretty cool because you just see her genuine first reaction, and I'm used to seeing
now that was a genuine, like you could tell like she enjoyed it when she first came up. I wasn't quite sure. I was kind of nervous, like, oh, is she gonna like this, or is she being serious right now?
Because to me, I've never seen the originals. So to me, when I saw the video, it was really cool because since all I get is your scans, and then from what I print out in the 8x11s or whatever. But then when you actually see her video reactions of opening these huge detail original paintings, then at that point at least to me, I'm blown away about like where that comes from, and then the scaling that we do later on, which is pretty crazy. Yeah,
normally I try to max it out at around 20 by 24 or 18 by 24.
Yeah,
I think, or it's 20 by 20. I don't forget. But, that's like the perfect size for like having a painting in your house.
Yeah.
I could go bigger, but I don't feel the need to. It just doesn't really interest me. Like, I mean, I like looking at big paintings and murals. I just don't like doing them.
Yeah. Totally understandable.
Because, I mean, what am I going to do? Like, draw, like, Iron or Batman, like, just huge-ass Batman or something like that? Which is my, favorite superhero, by the way. But, doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. Or I guess the other question I was going to ask you, that based on everything that you've worked on already, is there something in the back of your head that you still kind of want to like do as a personal goal or a personal project that you want to accomplish in the future?
Oh, man. So, and okay, so and I laugh because when you're doing comics, right? Man, like so it's just me and Sean working on this comic, right?
Yeah.
You forget that there's also jobs for letterers and formatters and colorists and inkers and all this stuff. So it gets very involved. So I know how long it takes. I'm not like, if I'm really just like pounding 5 hours and Red Bulls and cracked out on that. I'll try to do a page a day. But that's only inking, right? So I know how long it takes, but currently I'm working out my own like a graphic novel. This is like
cool
of my own. It has a title, but I'm not gonna reveal that just yet because I'm playing around with certain how should I say, certain like character studies.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So not so much as like an epic, or it's just like one of my, oh man, this is like probably basic reading, but one of my favorite, one of the more interesting books I like is No Exit, where it's like you're stuck in a room with like this other person, and it's just straight hell for you.
I think I'm the same way, where you have so many different influences, and then when you try to kind of come up with that. Sometimes a lot of the time you're either trying to go with the reference or you're trying to go with something that you've already thought of before. So I know the mindset can kind of go back and forth of like, it makes sense why you're doing these different character studies because of that. Yeah.
So another one was, and I totally forgot about this story because I read it in like high school or like going into college, community college, but probably high school. It was called The Trial.
Oh,
where it was like, it was about like no particular thing happening. Like this guy just, for some reason, just gets like arrested or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he has no idea why, and the police don't know why. And so he's going on like these certain, like trying to figure out why he's getting arrested or why he's going to be put to death or something like that. And then you just like, no one knows what's going on. like everyone's just confused. Like you tell them to go see this priest, and then like the priest doesn't know what's going on because like, yeah. So stuff like that. I mean, I'm probably not the best writer, but I kind of want to. I'm kind of experimenting in like different things like that. Like just put this person with this person,
right.
It's not going to be like a whole tale. It's just going to be maybe a situation, or point of view, or how would you react in that situation, or how I would react in that situation. And there can be several of those, and just compile it into like a book.
That's awesome. Yeah,
but there's gonna be like some hidden shit in there, because there's I don't want people to look at it, and not that I don't want. It's just if they were to open it up again, they'll probably notice something that they didn't notice before.
Right.
So it's almost like a puzzle in a sense.
Kind of like movies too, and like you don't catch something the first time until you rewatch it a few times. Yeah.
Like how they do those like the Marvel movies where you'll see like how they set up
something for
the next ones, for the next one, so, something like that. But they'll connect, but just not in the way that you would expect.
Yeah.
So I'm just drawing major story points on that. That actually came to fruition from that one little painting sketch that I did of like the two people on the roof.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. So that has a story behind it.
Nice.
So, Sean knows what it is. I'll tell you off.
I definitely don't want. If it's in development, I totally respect that aspect. So I
barely in development because I still got to work on John's book. So that takes priority for sure.
Yeah.
And whenever any other commissions come along, I'm going to answer those calls first.
Right.
And then, because right now it's just ideas, and just, making sure I have those down. And then I'll just come back to it later.
Yeah.
So it may be released when I'm 38 or 83.
Yeah.
So
one of those years we'll flip it around and figure it out. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to be respectful of your time and everything that.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Thank you so much again for doing this, and it's cool because you and I have known each other for, which is crazy, more than 10 years now. When you really look back
at it been? Oh man.
Yeah.
10 years. That goes by.
It speaks to like all these conversations that you and I have had at the different shows where like, if it's like a slow day at a expo or whatever, that we talk about different topics, whether it be personal or inspirations that we both enjoy. But even this now is really cool because I got to learn a couple of things that even throughout all those hours of conversations that we've had at other shows that I still didn't even know of. So I want to thank you for making the time to do this.
Oh yeah, no problem. Still trying to push the Grow Canvas Grow brand as far as as I can go and as far as we can go,
Yeah.
which is, now that things are opening up a little,
Right.
now we can go back to the limitless potential of it,
We mean we're not dropping any bombshells here, but we're hinting at something.
There's a hint to that.
Yeah,
Hints. Major hints.
Waves.
Oh, waves.
All right.
You gotta know to know, right?
You gotta know. Exactly. All right. Before we head out, did you want to plug anything else other than Sunless and anything else? Or I'm gonna put the links to everything with Sunless and everything. But if there was anything, any shout outs or any plugs that you wanted to do.
Yeah. So I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. It's it's all tied. Or Facebook, just Blacquiao.
Yeah.
I've been not as active because I've been a little bit more introspective.
Yeah.
Which helped me with this
interview.
Because you gotta know thyself, right?
Yeah.
So I will post pictures here and there. So just follow me on those social media platforms, and you'll find something amazing or horrible.
Blocking it.
Block me if you want. Or you can look me up, #Blacquiao, art by Blacquiao, Blacquiao the artist, GCG squad, GCG crew, Grow Grandma's Grow, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, also, we have a page for Sunless.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'll make sure to put that one.
Was it?
As well.
Yeah, Sunless _ Myth of the Eternal Flower, all one word at the end. So
perfect.
Yeah. I'll post. I'll post progress pictures of the second book. Probably here and there. I'm trying to keep my sanity.
Yeah,
because how when you go to post something on social media, but then you start what do you call it, doom scrolling?
Yeah.
That gets to be a bit much.
Yeah.
Except on Twitter, I kind of like that toxic environment because that's where all the comedies just happen. Yeah. I'm like, how is this allowed? Elon Musk, please just buy this.
Yeah. Just buy this and we'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cheers, my buddy, my pal, my compadre.
Brother,
we will definitely do this again because I believe we've only scratched the surface.
Only the surface.
So we will. It's what do the kids call it? The tip of the iceberg. Now I forget what kids are calling it now.
Is that what they call it? I've been called it that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll do this.
Babe.
We'll do this next time. Take care. Thanks again.
If you enjoyed the fun chat, don't forget to subscribe. Audio versions of the podcast are also available on all popular podcast platforms. Links available in the episode description. Thanks again for listening.